Hey y'all, I'm Derek, and welcome back to 31 Days of Found Horror. So, today we're looking at a movie called Remnants. It was put out back in 2011, which is so much fun because that's like the beginnings of the YouTube internets. I'm looking really forward to this one. It's a little over an hour long, so let's go ahead and get started. Oh my God, this just brought such a smile to my face. So at the beginning of the movie, normally where you would see the providence is that snippet of film at the beginning that explains where the film comes from, that's trying to make it seem more real. There's just a disclaimer. It says, this is a film that was made by a couple of friends with no budget for fun. Please enjoy. That made me so happy because they literally just come out and say that they know this is not going to be the best movie out there. But oddly enough, it was actually well put together. I mean, better than some of the movies I've seen on this show. And I immediately fell in love with this movie because it starts off with a guy filming in the woods saying he's got the shot for the movie and he's walking his corgi. And I love corgis. I love dogs. So you show me a dog, I'm already on your side. So his corgi wants to go further into the woods and he finds a graveyard. Ooh. At first I thought they came across a whole group of Legos, like giant Legos in the middle of the woods, and then I realized, oh, it's a graveyard, but whatever. And then there's thunder in the graveyard, so they decide to go home. And this scene means absolutely nothing, as we'll find out later. I love it, I love it. Oh my God, I miss when the internet was so much fun. So he goes home and he's literally talking with the dog about whether or not the roof is leaking because he lives in a rented trailer. So here's the camera, okay? He's like, I'll bet you that roof's leaking. Even though the landlord said it wasn't going to. I bet you the roof's leaking. And so they finally go inside, and guess what? The roof is leaking. I mean, not just leaking, torrential downpour. At this point, we notice that behind his computer, there's a giant emblem that reads otaku on his wall. So I feel kindred spirit here because otaku is a common derivative of the word nerd, even though in Japanese, I remember it means something about dealing with the home. Basically, you're a homebody. Okay, so a week later, the roof's been fixed. At this point, we also meet his wife. There's the husband, there's the wife, and there's the corgi. That's all you need for a movie. But the lights keep flickering and the faucet keeps turning on and off. So the guy's trying to set up that his house is haunted. Okay, I can deal with that. The haunted trailer, I can deal with it. But the funny thing is that the best actor in the entire movie is the corgi. I mean, do not get me wrong. This is obviously made by fans and they're not trying to be the best actors. That's fine. I mean, it's still really enjoyable. But still, that corgi is so well trained. I don't know how to explain, but it's like you can tell it's trained, but it's not doing what it's trained to do or something like that. Okay, so the faucet turns on while nobody's near it, and he decides he's going to go under the house to see what's going on. Okay, so he goes to the trailer skirt and he just rips a section off instead of trying to find access because you know normally there's an access point for the skirting on a trailer, but whatever. He doesn't really go in, the dog goes in, and then it immediately yips out. Yip, 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 yip. So you're like, oh, something's down there. I literally wrote this in my notes. The internet used to be such a fun place. It's true. And now comes the real haunting bit. The guy fixes the cushions on the couch, okay? And then he turns off the light. Then he turns on the light. And all the cushions are stacked on top of each other in the middle of the room. Ooh. You know, considering that you couldn't see the cut, I mean, you've seen my stuff, you see the cuts all the time, but you couldn't see the cut on this one, so that wasn't actually that bad. he hears a knocking down a dark hallway. And at that moment, I'm a nope. I am a firm believer in the nope. And then he hears a book fall off the shelf in the bedroom, but he didn't catch it on film. And so he keeps bugging it like, come on, you can do it again while I'm recording. And so he just puts the camera down. He's like, okay, I'm not in the room. I'm just gonna make off with my merry ways. And then when he's not in the room, the bookshelf falls over. It was actually quite good. Considering that this is a single location, no budget movie, I ain't mad at it. They're doing their damnedest. The next morning, the guy decides that he's going to go under the house again, just to investigate, to see what's going on. So they go back to the hole that they put in the skirt, and they ask if the dog wants to go in, and the dog's like, nope. That's a nope. So he goes in and he sees like a salt or chalk outline on the ground that's obviously supposed to be a sigil of some form. And you also see something further up, but he doesn't go investigate it, but it looks like graves to me, so, Okay, so after that mess, they go back inside and the wife is saying the lights were flickering and then I heard something outside. So they go outside and they see another symbol on the porch, but there's also blood leading from the porch, and they follow the blood. At this point, because we hadn't seen the dog in a minute, I was like, this better not be the dog. They better not do that to me. But thankfully they don't. But they follow the blood over to this paddock. It's a huge cement paddock. This is the weirdest argument I've ever heard in a movie. The girl's like, what is this supposed to be? And the guy's like, it's the septic tank. Don't you know where the septic tank is? And the woman goes, but we're on city water. Okay, I'm on city water and I have a septic tank. Water and sewer are two different things. They have this huge realization like, yeah, we're on city water. What is this thing? I'm like, it's still a septic tank. It don't matter if you're on water, it matters if you have a sewer connection. You're in the middle of nowhere, you don't have sewer. I love the yes and of it all, because you can tell this movie was completely improv, and it's all yes and. And so they go to google.com to look up the symbols. And the guy says, oh, it's the devil. So they decide that they're going to bless the house. So the girl goes to the church, and it turns out the church is out of holy water. Oh, drat, the church is out of holy water. It's not like the preacher can just go, I bless it. So they literally order holy water off of, I kid you not, they say it, Amazon.com. God, do you remember back in the day when you actually used to put .com at the end of the website whenever you were actually talking about it? Oh my God, I love the internet. I love how far we've all come. The guy leaves and apparently he's going to work at night. This is the first time he's actually gone to work at night, so I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but he asks the girl to continuously record, just in case something happens. So the smoke alarm goes off, and then there's a knock at the door. Okay, and so she decides to go investigate the knock, because freaking white people. I really want a t-shirt that just says, freaking white people, because it seems like everything you shouldn't do, they do in a horror film. Go down the basements, investigate weird noises, go up to this killer and say hi. So she goes outside and she looks around, and then she goes back up to the house, and the trash bin is miraculously in front of the door. Oh my God. Well, she just throws it off and goes back in. And then she looks in the kitchen and she's confronted by a pair of sensible bumps. Ah! No, seriously, there's a pair of sensible pumps just sitting in the middle of the kitchen for no reason. And yet it's the most ominous thing she's ever seen. Not the sensible pump! I'm sorry, I'm tickling myself. So then the kitchen goes crazy and she gets attacked off screen. So I forgot to mention, the couple's name is Brian and Steph. And the reason I keep forgetting it is because I honestly kept forgetting it while I was writing my notes. So Steph is attacked off screen and she drops the camera. Brian comes home and the kitchen's completely a mess and there on the ground are the sensible pumps! Seriously, the only thing that's still in position are the sensible black pumps. I know it was supposed to be ominous, but I kept saying, oh no, a sensible pump! Whatever shall we do? Oh, I made myself laugh so hard it wasn't funny. New t-shirt idea, not a sensible pump! Oh, that made me laugh. Brian comes home, okay? And they hear a noise outside, and of course, frickin' white people. Brian goes out and investigates, but they have to keep recording everything. They both have cameras now. They have to keep recording. And I love how they're trying to explain this flaw in storytelling. They literally say, keep recording, just keep recording. No matter what, just keep recording. And I'm like, okay, so I'll buy it. They literally are just going to keep recording. Brian goes out to investigate underneath the house, and Steph hears a noise and opens the door, and the corgi just nopes out of there. It was great. He's like, bah! Brian is underneath the house and he's looking, and he finds like werewolf bones that immediately turn into a werewolf. And he's like, oh my God! So he gets out, he's running out. He goes back into the house, and Stephanie and Brian end up locked in the bathroom, which is thankfully right across the hall from the front door. So they're literally stuck in the bathroom, and that's them for a minute. Until finally, Brian's like, it's been about an hour, maybe we can run out. He basically pushes Steph out the door. He's like, I'm gonna record more. Steph is trying to get the car started because it's not starting. And while inside, something happens to Brian, and he ends up being thrown halfway through a window, but not really through a window because, you know, we gotta get our deposit back. So he's literally outside, hanging out the window, and Steph's like, oh my God, Brian! And he just says, you need to get out of here. Record everything. That is such an easy way to get over the problem that most people have about why they're filming this scene. Brian told me to record everything. Brian's basically dead. Steph is in the car won't start, and all of a sudden the mist comes in. For some reason. Because there's always mist. It's a horror film. Isn't there mist? Someone forgot the mist? Did someone bring the mist? It's the best they can do with Adobe. So the girl gets out and she goes up to where the septic tank is, and she just starts calling for the dog, and then she explodes. Literally, there's a blood explosion. And that's basically the end of the movie. Oh, but there is a cut scene halfway through the credits to show you that the dog survives, which I really appreciate because that was a big problem for me. That was the movie, and honestly, I am not mad at this movie at all. This was so much fun because it was just made with a lot of love, and yeah, the acting's not exactly the best. Yeah, the camera work's not exactly the best, but honestly, they made it in 2 days with no budget. People who made it were Brian Coppola and Stephanie Gershowitz, and if y'all ever see this, please just drop me a line. I'd love to say hi and thank you for this. This was just so much fun. I mean, there was some things I skipped over in this, like they literally Wikipedia'd holy words to spray, and that didn't help. In fact, that's what led to the sensible pumps. I don't know what else I could say. I really liked this one. I mean, I really enjoyed it immensely. It was just so much fun to watch. It just brought joy to my heart. I mean, was it really scary? No, but there were some really good effective jump scares in it. So, I mean, you can't really be mad at that. So yeah, I got nothing else. Thanks for stopping by, thanks for tuning in, and come back tomorrow for 31 days of found horror.